Well, look, I'm a pretty upbeat person and I remain optimistic, but it's very frustrating watching the political class continue to make just so many mistakes and act constantly in favour of their own self-importance. I mean, I have to remind them it's meant to be about the job you do, not the job you have. And having been near the centre of power of a great federal government between 1996 and 2007, I feel especially frustrated about the decline in tone and conduct of so many, particularly at the state level of governments in Australia. Now, there's plenty of people tonight who'd like to see an abolition of the states, but you can't do that. The idea, though, of reviewing state boundaries and indeed an evolution to smaller regions with those more localised entities doing exactly what the current state and local government tasks are is actually possible under our Constitution, and it's probably time for this discussion, as a few in power in state governments is just simply ruining so many lives. In the past week, I've received so many letters regarding the heartlessness of our state leaders. Here's one from Lang. He's in COVID-free Wodonga in northern Victoria, and Lang feels pretty well forgotten. Lang says the whole Albury-Wodonga economic, education and health zone is completely shattered, and that story repeats right along the Murray River and all the twin towns from Curryong to Mildura. Denai, well, she's married to a West Australian FIFO worker, fly-in, fly-out worker, and they have 3 children, and one is suffering terrible anxiety because he thinks Daddy is never coming home, and he's just 5 years old. Some FIFO workers have been away from their family for 6 months or more. And Denai says it's just heartbreaking. And that West Australian Premier Mark McGowan is just simply using COVID and fear to gain and keep control. And that the West Australian government is trying to force workers to move to that state. And some mining companies are actually now saying that eastern state workers working in Western Australia have to actually pay for all of their costs while they're on a break from work in Western Australia while maintaining their mortgages and their families back at home. Then there's Lily, and Lily's in Melbourne, and of course, naturally enough, in complete lockdown. And she says that, well, Daniel Andrews is a pyromaniac. When a pyromaniac sets fires to a building and then just rushes in to save the people, that is Daniel Andrews. But Lily says people have long memories and they will remember. John's also in Melbourne, and John lamented to me that we have leaders who have lost all humanity, and this cold-blooded, soulless attitude is foreign to us as Australians. And John says plenty of leading epidemiologists and world experts have stated that lockdowns and restrictions actually don't work. Protecting the elderly and the vulnerable do. And that John also makes the point that many people have died with COVID-19, not from COVID-19, that the whole COVID drama has really just been a crisis of awareness of what viruses normally do rather than a crisis caused by an abnormally lethal new bug. See, the average Australian actually gets it better than so many of the people making decisions hurting so many average Australians right now. Keen to know what you think. Hashtag Hardgrave at skynews.com.au. You can also email me directly, gary.hardgrave@skynews.com.au.